I in particular is also a victim because I lost all of my 7 brothers in the course of the war. The rebels came and invaded our home and killed about 17 people.
Some boys told us a story where they were given to kill their fellow youth whom they were abducted with, especially those who tried to escape to come back. So they gave them that mental torture by giving one of them to kill their real colleague whom they were with at school. They come from the same village and they were abducted.
The girls that were defiled in the bush or raped, when they come back, they are embarrassed. People harass them and they refuse their children.
The girl who was abducted, and she was given to one commander the first night. The next day she was given to another man, and they kept rotating her. By the days she was 10 days there, she had already been given to over 15 men.
Those who are medically and physically affected and incapacitated, they find it very difficult to live thereafter. Some of them might be stigmatized. They lose touch with their families. Some of them lose their jobs. Some of them lose contacts with their relatives. And this makes it very difficult in terms of livelihood.
Now they are not accepted in the community. They are really finding it very difficult to reintegrate, even to reunite with their own families. Some of them now feel they are outcasts. Nobody is caring about them.
They don't want this thing to reoccur for the second time. This one, if need be, need to be the beginning and the last, so that we learn a culture of harmonious living where we observe law in our society.
When justice comes, we shall not retaliate what had been done on us.
When justice is done, they would really have that relief than just leaving people. Actually, right now, when they see these people driving around, they are so much hurt. Some of them have always said that these are the same people who used to rape us in the bush. These are the same people who used to command. Now they are being taken like gods, and they feel so bitter. They have not forgiven those people in their hearts. And I think there is a need for justice to prevail to reduce this impunity. Otherwise, if there is no justice, I think this type of problems can reoccur anywhere, anytime.
Probably their biggest challenges in Uganda is that they're not aware of their rights in the first place, so they wouldn't necessarily always know what they could ask for, which rights have been violated, but also that they don't necessarily have access to justice in the way we understand it. Courts are working in some parts of Uganda, but in other parts, especially conflict-affected parts of Uganda, they're not really functional, or where they're functional, they're very sparse and are not accessible. And once victims do decide to bring their cases to court, very frequently many of the basic judicial guarantees are not respected. And here we talk about everything from the way police investigations are carried out, from corruption in order for you to even get your medical form filled out, denial to the right to bail, to habeas corpus, to judges' extensive pre-trial detention periods, judges not turning up, not being nominated. So there are enormous challenges for victims of human rights violations in Uganda currently.
The legal proceedings in the courts of law take too long. Cases which were brought here about 2004 actually, and still judgment is not yet passed.
The war has divided people at ethnic level, political level, but their participation will let them express what is in their heart, and people will have opportunity of letting go the past, and they will be able maybe to have a new beginning.
It's really important that we include victims in all discussions about how justice develops, how it's managed, and how it is concluded. Justice for the most serious crimes is essentially about justice for victims of these crimes. It's very difficult to disassociate the victims, the people who've suffered from these violations, from the justice process itself. This is why it's so important that victims are involved, initiated, encouraged, and form part of all the discussions and debates that go hand in hand with developing an appropriate response to this level of criminality. Victims are the primary stakeholders of justice, and therefore it's really appropriate that we involve them in decisions that affect them now, today, and into the future.
They have no gateway to the community, but through us, now they have at least a voice to the community. Every month they call us for workshops, they call us for trainings. That training empowers us to even sensitize community more on ICC activities, proceedings, and the setups. The Uganda Human Rights is also helping community to know their right. What belongs to you should not be taken away.
I feel that Uganda Victims' Rights Working Group will play a very important role in ensuring that the voices of the victims are heard, the issues concerning the victims are addressed, and we also feel that we would want to see that justice is seen to prevail among the victims. So I think the Victims' Rights Group is really here trying to work for the voiceless. We have realized that the victims are never heard, they are voiceless, they are forgotten, nobody cares about them. That's why we have come up as a Victims' Rights Working Group, to bridge that gap.